all of a sudden you have a new entity. You have this emergent whole. All of us today with our nucleated cells, and each of our cells has numbers of different organelles in them, these smaller structures that perform various functions. These were once free-living organisms. Each individual cell is actually an entire colony. The evolutionary process although driven by competition, is equally driven by cooperation. What we regard as cooperation and what we regard as competition have as much to do with the way that we're perceiving them as they'd have to do with any kind of external reality. There's this balance between the forces that drives organisms competing to survive in an increasingly complex environment into increasingly sophisticated forms of social cooperation. There are, in the average person, about 13 to 23 distinct subpersonalities. These little voices that each of us fall back into that we pretend are us. They clamor to identify as whomever we call ourselves. But it's really not one unit. It's this conglomerate. Not just biologically, but psychologically, each of us are this collective parading around as an individual. We can also look at it throughout time and take the more contemplative perspective that what we regard as the continuous ego is actually a series of interactions. Whether you look at it as a series of moments that we stitch together because of their similarity, or whether you regard it as a series of ongoing processes that, are woven together in some sort of harmonic way. Each of us contain within this one identity that we have adopted for the purposes of convenience an enormous number of participants. Then on the other hand, we have the city as the self. We can say, oh, well, yes, everything we do, every artifact that we create is a performance of our culture. All of our architecture is communication. It's an attempt to express something And ultimately, our cities are, in some sense, as well as all of our technology, an extension of our behavior and our anatomy. It can be regarded as a part of our body. And in fact, there's been a lot of research into human tool use and its effect on the brain that indicates that if you're holding a hammer, your brain automatically adjusts the map of your body to include the hammer. In a very real psychological way, the tools that we use and the spaces that we inhabit are a felt extension of our physical form and also our mind and our thoughts. Speaking and writing are thinking out loud, dancing is thinking out loud. We only recently launched up a solar observer that's capable of looking at the magnetic patterns of the sun at a resolution of 360 kilometers. We're realizing now that the magnetic patterns of our star are far more intricate than we thought they were. And it seems to me that it would be foolish to believe that these patterns, which are millions, billions, trillions of times more sophisticated than a single human body, would not also correspondingly have the correlative experience that's millions, billions, trillions of times more intricate. There's a way that we can actually start thinking of these larger units of a city or a nation or a planet or a solar system or a galaxy as ever larger and ever more inclusive bodies with ever larger and ever more inclusive minds. So I'm not the kind of person who wants to end my worship at Gaia and draw the line there. Because it seems to me like even the planet, whatever transcendental awareness it possesses, is transcended itself, and that as far as we look in either direction, that this goes on for as far as we can see. To me, it seems that science is bringing us back to this alchemical understanding of as above, so below, this endless fractal, self-similar organization. Minds and bodies enfolded inside minds and bodies. They unify us as individual human beings into a larger sentient pattern. Each of us is, in fact, the reflection of the city. That the ego is an intelligent response to the environment. So that's me just trying to pull as many pins on this mind grenade as I can. Suffice it to say, if we can distill that, as we become woven ever more intimately with our electronic technologies and our emergent or rediscovered psychic capacities, we're very literally weaving ourselves into a collective human consciousness. This crisis of alienation that people are feeling now, this sense that we are not part of it, that we are not participating. Well, that's just not true. It's time for us to reevaluate our sense of self and its place in this participation in these greater wholes.